Um, Today, I've been asked to go through briefly the status of the Ecodesign regulation, which includes the Digital Product Passport, which is the main focus of today's meeting. I will try to guide you through our current interpretation of the regulation, and I will conclude with a timeline. Oh, somebody's not muted.
Was getting curious, right?
Yeah, but I will conclude with some kind of an overview of the timeline of the process of the legislation and what lies ahead the next coming years. And please collect your questions during my presentation. We will have a few minutes afterwards for discussion. So, as Malin said, my name is Robin Ljungar, and I'm head of sustainability at TMF, the Swedish Federation of Wood and Furniture Industry, which is the industry employer organization representing, among others, the Swedish furniture industry. With that said, let's get started. As you know, we have a huge challenge and an important goal for the EU to become climate neutral by 2050. And to succeed in this, the EU has formulated the Green Deal, which is the roadmap that will take Europe to a prosperous, modern, competitive, and climate neutral economy. And this will affect the industry in several different ways. Looking at the Green Deal, it consists of a wide range of different initiatives, and these initiatives, they will affect nearly every aspect of societal development and businesses. A key part of this effort is the role of the industry in driving a clean and circular economy. And this is to be achieved through extensive legislation. Now, the underlying objective is commendable, as it is often the case with the legislation coming from Brussels. The political aim is to promote a sustainable development. But I would like to say that we need to remain observant here. There is a significant risk that these high ambitions will result in a heavy administrative burden for businesses, especially for SMEs, small and medium-sized companies. Today's meeting and our joint project focus on the Digital Product Passport, which is one of the instruments that will be regulated through the new legislation. For the legislation to be effective and truly support both the green transition and the industrial competitiveness, we normally say it must follow a need to know rather than a good to know approach. The legislation must be fit for purpose, otherwise we risk inhibiting innovation and growth with little or very limited benefit to the sustainability goals. One important piece of legislation in the transition to circular economy is what we call the ESPR, the Ecodesign for Sustainable Products. Now, this regulation, it consists of two very important components. Firstly, we have the Ecodesign requirements that will dictate how companies must design their products in order to fulfill certain sustainability characteristics. Secondly, each product must have a digital product passport containing detailed information. In fact, all products put on the EU market will be covered by the regulation, with the exception for food, plants, animals, pharmaceuticals, and medicine for animals. Now, for us at TMF, a couple of product groups are extra interesting. Furniture, including kitchen and certain interior furnishing, and mattresses are among the priority product groups which will be handled in the first round of the legislation. But as currently drafted, the Ecodesign regulation is very high level and it lacks detailed provisions. So we must await the forthcoming product-specific requirements, which will be developed through supplementary legislation in so-called delegated acts. And these delegated acts, they will be developed within the framework of what is called the Ecodesign Forum. And now the Ecodesign Forum, it's the European Commission's expert and stakeholder group consisting of 250 50 representatives from member states, from industry association, environmental and consumer organization, and standardization bodies. Our European Federation, where we are members, EFIC, European Furniture Industry Confederation, have been granted 3 seats in the forum, where EFIC's General Secretary, my counterpart in Italy, and myself from Sweden, we are participating on behalf of the European furniture industry in the Ecodesign Forum, and we are representing all the different companies throughout Europe, approximately 130,000 furniture producers throughout Europe. One of the first discussions that we've had with the Commission so far is to define a piece of furniture. What is that? And for us, it is very important to emphasize that a piece of furniture is not a uniform product group. Furniture can vary greatly in form and complexity. There's a big difference between a simple wooden chair made entirely of wood, an office chair, which can be highly complex and it may consist of many different components and materials. And an upholstered bed will be subject to 2 different delegated acts, where the frame, the legs will be regarded as a piece of furniture and the mattress will be regarded as a mattress. So there we will have 2 different delegated acts. And then talking about digital product passports, you know that normally we will have some kind of QR code or barcode, where in a kitchen should a QR code be placed on each individual part or in a designated cabinet, like under the sink or whatever. So even though furniture may seem to be a very simple product, it is quite complex. Now, a quick look at the Ecodesign requirements. We see that the regulation sets out very overarching requirements for how a product must be designed. And here we are aiming to promote circularity and long product life. With robust, durable products designed to last, allowing for repair, refurbishment, maintenance, remanufacturing, recycling, and making use of recycled or recyclable and or renewable materials. However, the requirements so far, they are very broadly formulated without much details. And to understand what will apply specifically to our products, for us furniture and mattresses, we simply have to wait for the product-specific requirements to be laid out in the upcoming delegated act. Now, let's take a look at the product passports. Why does the Commission want to introduce product passports? Well, the Commission identifies 2 main reasons. First, the aim is to provide information to individual consumers, enabling them to make more informed and hopefully more sustainable choices at the point of purchase. That's one purpose. The other purpose is to facilitate the flow of information along the value chain. This means making it possible for downstream actors to access the information they need in order to, for example, repair, refurbish, remanufacture, or recycle a product. And for instance, these downstream actors, they may need information about problematic chemicals. That's one clear example of something that could be part of a product passport. But also when it comes to the information requirements in the product passports, the legislation remains high level and the regulation lacks many specific details. What we can see so far is that the product passport will need to include information on the product's repairability and durability, its climate and environmental footprint, some kind of handling instructions, including how the product can be reused or recycled. The Commission talks about a list in some form of treatment facilities for products that have reached end of life, and of course information about the chemical content. But when it comes to further details for the product passport, we will need to await the product-specific requirements in the upcoming delegated act. We can identify certain technical requirements for the design and handling of the product passport. There must be a so-called data carrier that is unique and durable. And the data carrier could, for example, be a QR code, a barcode, or something similar. The product passport must be based on open standards, and the information must be shareable without restrictions. The passport must be machine readable, structured, searchable, and the passport must be able to be transferred via networks without vendor lock-in. And this is, of course, important input for stakeholders who will build the digital infrastructure for the product passports. But then again, we have to await for upcoming delegated acts to find out where the data carrier shall be placed on the product, on the packaging, or in the documentation. Whether the information relates to the product model, to the batch, or individual items. And also, who will have the right to access the information in the product passport. Some of the information may be confidential and not be meant for everybody to read. And again, when it comes to further details, we need to await the product-specific requirements in the upcoming delegated acts. The regulation refers to various different types of actors handling the digital product passport. They talk about the economic operator, for us, for instance, the furniture manufacturer, who places a product on the market. This actor has extensive responsibility for producing the required information and creating a product passport. In addition, the legislator mentions a so-called independent service provider for the product passports. This actor is expected to archive a digital copy of the product passports and may potentially also be responsible for administrating the management of the passports. However, this role is still very unclear. Then we have other independent actors along the value chain, such as those who repair and refurbish furniture. What responsibilities do they have in terms of updating or creating new product passports when modifications are made to different products along the value chain? So we need more clarification from the Commission regarding these different roles. And in addition to that, the regulation also states that the Commission will establish a web portal where individual users will be able to access and compare different product passports. However, this web portal, how it will be organized, it remains to be seen. And in addition to that, a central registry is to be set up to keep track of all unique data carriers and potentially other required information. And this will be specified in a delegated act which have been promised to be published in the summer of 2026. So much still remains very, very unclear, and we have to wait. Now, looking at the timeline for the process, it currently appears as follows. The regulation was adopted last spring in the Parliament and in the Council, and the regulation was published in the EU Official Journal in July last year. Beginning of this year, 2025, the Ecodesign Forum was established, and the first meeting took place in February on the 19th and 20th. During this first meeting, approximately 400 people attended, and the main focus on those 2 days was on working procedures and also which product groups should be included or excluded in the first plan. The work plan from the Commission describing the upcoming work the next 3 years was published in April. And here we got confirmation that indeed both furniture and mattresses will be included in the first batch of the ESPR. So we at TMF, we have a lot of work ahead of us. Now, the actual work will start with a preparatory study in our case, on furniture. So we will start a preparatory study on furniture, which is expected to take roughly 12 to 18 months. And the preparatory study will be followed by an impact assessment evaluating the preparatory study. And this phase is estimated to take approximately 12 months. And after that, the actual drafting of the delegated act will begin, a process expected to take another 12 months. The Commission has stated that it aims to have the Furniture Delegated Act ready by 2028, which is 1 year later than first anticipated. Then the implementation of the Act is expected to take another 18 months in all the different member states. So if everything goes according to plan, we can expect to have binding requirements on eco-design and product passports to apply around 2030 for our products. However, we have not yet received any confirmation on when the preparatory study will begin. If it will start immediately, now, sometime during 2025, or maybe it will not start until 2026. We simply don't know yet. So overall, there is still a great deal of uncertainty from the Commission regarding how the work within the forum will be conducted. At the same time, we have established a good working relationship with DG Envy and DG Growth. They know who we are, and we are having constructive, fruitful discussions with the Commission. So there is still a lot of work to be done before 2030.